If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Central Valley Talk. My name is Ray Johns. I'm your host, and the name of my show is Voices Not Yet Heard. And like we say every week, we hope that this will be your vehicle so that voice might just get heard. If you're watching me now, it's live. I want you to know that. If you watch it later, it's probably a rebroadcast. I'd like to talk to you today about something in lieu of all that's happened lately, and I'd like to talk about heroes and cowards. Now, we were very fortunate on November 11th, I think it was. Yeah, November 11th, Veterans Day, because Oliver North was here, and to me, I don't know of a more American hero. I think he's the epitome of American heroism. And I won't get into anything about Oliver North, because I'll be here all day. He's got so many accolades, and it was just wonderful to have him in the city of Fresno. We were all very fortunate. And you know, when you think about heroes, you don't see a lot of really great American heroes, and the reason is because you have to be very special to get to that point in life, and we have very few of them, and heroes never start out to be heroes, not ever, They do the right thing all the time to better themselves, to better the country, to do what they can to make things better, and they become heroes, a lot of them, who do major things like Oliver North, which is as opposed to cowards. I think it's probably easier to be a coward. If things don't go your way, then you go out and protest. And this goes out, by the way, to those people that yanked that young man out of the car and they beat him and he ended up hospitalized. This goes out to you, and it goes out to the rest of you cowards who are out there protesting. Why don't you grow up? Why don't you be grateful for what we have in this country? I'm telling you what's going to happen. 3 or 4 years down the road, the rest of us will be on the road to prosperity and living the American dream. The rest of you will be blaming us for your troubles like you always do. And you people need to grow up, okay? You need to realize how grateful you are to be in this great country. Now, I have 2 other things to tell you about heroes really quickly, and I've got Gary Clemente, and of course you're going to love this. Gary Miguel, and I keep doing that. I don't know why.
I don't want him to get in trouble.
Yeah. Anyway, he's right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
I've got Gary Miguel, and we are so glad to have him. We're going to get to him very shortly because he's got a lot of things to say. But I want to talk to you about a couple of heroes. There's a guy named Ted Castleman. Now, interestingly enough, I've known this guy for about 30 years, and one day he told me, he said, I just realized something. He said, you're one of my best friends, and I remember thinking how funny that was because I thought the same of him for years and years. Here's a guy, and you talk about a hero. Here's a man who's in his 60s who looks like he's about 35 because he takes care of himself. But what gets me is how his perseverance in life, okay? This man is just amazing. Everything he does is successful. He wrote a book. He was successful doing that. He was a successful insurance agency. He got into the mobile home business and sold, as I understand, well over 300 mobile homes in just a year. He's just a really success. Ted Castleman is a winner, and he wins. That's what he does. He is a hero. I don't know if you saw the movie McFarlane. And I just saw it last week for the first time when I was recovering from surgery. And let me tell you something. What a great movie of heroes. And I don't want to ruin it for those of you who haven't seen it. But it's a great story of Kevin Costner's star in it. And he coaches this Hispanic cross-country team. Well, these kids get up before dawn to run 8 to 10 miles. Then they work with their parents in the fields until school time. Then they go to school. Then they meet with him and run another 8 to 10 miles at the end of that. Now, you've got to see this movie. The next time I complain about absolutely anything, And I'm so fortunate to be here. I'm so proud to be an American. The next time, I'm going to pull that movie out and watch it. Watch that movie. It is a movie about heroes. Gary,
Yes, sir.
welcome back, buddy.
How you doing there? Doggone, you've been through a rough
Oh,
couple
yeah.
of weeks here, haven't you?
Yeah, had another surgery. Another shout out to St. Agnes, by the way, because they're phenomenal. Had a private room over there. Those people are just great, man. They check on you and make sure absolutely everything is going good. Like on an hourly basis, they're always coming in and checking on you. I was fortunate.
God, that's great, Ray. I mean, I can't believe it. You called me and asked me to come on the show and told me what you'd gone through. I figured you were calling to cancel it because I couldn't believe that you're doing so well. That's
Thank
amazing.
you, buddy. I feel so good about it. What do you think about all this? Let's talk about all this stuff that's happening. I got to insert one thing. Yesterday, the Wall Street Journal said we're talking about how the dollar is just surging all of a sudden. And I know the Obama administration is probably going to try and take credit for that. But Gary and I know, like Gary said, everybody knows.
Yeah.
It's because of President-elect Donald Trump. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, the American dream is back.
Well, Ray, it was a wonderful ride because it turned out the way it did.
Oh.
And
he predicted it. I've got to say this. He doesn't like to take credit for this. He's the one that was predicting this 90 days ago. He was predicting that this was what happened did happen.
well, first I want to thank you for letting me or asking me to participate in what is probably one of the most critical things in America since the Civil War.
I'm not going to let you off.
Appreciate
I'm not letting you off that either. You still got to come back.
I mean, it's an honor to do that, feel like I'm a part of something that was
It
great.
was our honor.
But Ray, when I felt confident about Trump from day one, and I
And you said that.
constantly asked by people as it was getting closer, "What do you think?" And it got to where all I do is I just answer an email.
Gary, tell us what happened.
I'd say landslide,
Yeah.
landslide.
He sends me these great emails already. Tell us what happened. Explain to the
Well,
American people how this happened.
Okay, well, how it happened for me to feel confident that would happen is, although I did have some surprises, and I'll tell that, but when I knew who Trump was, but never really paid that much attention. I knew he was a developer. I'd been in that kind of business back when it started about the time he did at one time, right? So anyway, I can say I knew he was. I didn't have any feelings one way or another all that much. And as far as The Apprentice, I never seen one show, so I didn't know him from that at all. Period. And but I just knew he seemed to be a very successful guy. I had no idea how successful, and he also seemed to have a certain flair about him or leadership about him. So when I heard the first speech that he gave, I said, "That's it." I knew right then that was it. And one of the keys of that was, obviously, if he could run the country the way he run his business,
Absolutely.
I mean, you don't have to go any further.
That's exactly how I felt. Absolutely.
All right, okay. And then the other thing was when he said, "I'm going to do this with my money." And I thought, wow.
Very key thing.
Now, that is a huge gift.
That kind of throws special interests out the
Oh,
door.
I mean,
doesn't
I
it?
said, what? I said, I didn't know more about that, And and the other thing when he said that I'm doing this because I feel like I'm the only one qualified. I was hoping it'd be someone else. I don't need to do this, but I love this country so much and it's done so much for me. Well, he was sincere about it. And as you got to know Trump better, you begin to realize that he means what he says and he's speaking from the heart. And people, gravitate to something like that because that's kind of the way you like to see people live and the way you live,
Absolutely.
And I began to realize that after a little bit, you don't even think of him as being a billionaire. You think of him just being somebody that
Absolutely.
that thinks like you do. And
He's a winner. That's what he does. He wins.
And he thinks like you do. I said, well, there's a blue collar billionaire, which is they say that, and I mean, there's a guy that'd be just as comfortable as the coffee shop down the street, and
We've seen him that
and
during the
seen him
campaign.
do that,
yeah.
right? And he's talking to a potentate, and he's comfortable. And so, as it went along, I said, well, wait a minute, the American people are going to be smart enough to pick up on that. And I mean, if you really look at the common sense
That's
about
exactly
it,
what happened.
That's what happened. I was surprised, however, that it wasn't more people that saw through that. But then you have to look at it this way: you have the casual person that works for a living, 8 hours a day, and he comes home and watches TV, and he's not really into anything like politics or something like that. But he's getting bombarded by a media that threw absolutely everything possible to destroy Trump. Now, there's a reason why they did that, and we're talking about trillions of dollars at stake for the elite establishment, Democrat or Republican, and the lobbyists and these corporations would be losing if Trump was elected.
People believe what they see, don't they?
And they believe what they see.
They know the power of the media. They knew these
Right.
elite people that we're talking about.
Right.
They knew the power of the media.
Yeah,
And
and
they
it
used it to their
is.
full-
It's propaganda.
Absolutely.
And you have to, I mean, why do we advertise? I mean, if you're sitting there, let's say you're in the mobile home business, why would you advertise? Because you want people to believe that this is where I go to buy a mobile home.
Yes.
And the media, but what got me when it didn't get me. I mean, they just come out so much as said it. They threw everything. I mean, tried everything. I mean, going back 30 years to try to dig up on this guy.
As
right?
much as they could.
And the comparison would be Hillary Clinton, which, by the way, the Clinton crime family is the largest crime family ever in the history of the United States.
Is that amazing?
And then
Just amazing.
But people would vote for a criminal. People would vote for a liar. People would vote for a corrupt. People would vote for someone crooked. And you have to ask why. It's because they've been brainwashed.
Oh yeah, and continued to be. That's what that's what the media did
Right.
during this whole campaign.
Right.
People believed the polls.
Right.
They believed them totally. They believed everything basically at the beginning that Hillary Clinton said until they started seeing through it.
Well,
And-
enough people saw through
Yeah.
it. And a lot of them didn't, still
Yeah.
haven't, and probably never will, And but the media, it got to the point where anything they said that was bad about Trump or bad about one of his people or something, I just better be the opposite, because it's got to that point where people said, hey, whatever they say, if they're saying this guy, if Ray Jones Johns is a miserable son of a gun,
Mm-hmm.
if the media said it,
It must be true. And I mean,
no, it must be the opposite.
yeah.
That's the way
no, that way. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, everything. I mean, right now they're on this guy Bannon, and I did some research on that guy. My God, that's one of the more brilliant people Trump could ever get.
They still have an agenda.
Well, of course. Well,
and
my
that-
God,
and
when you got what they got at stake,
Oh yes, absolutely.
and Trump.
We've won the presidency. We've won the House.
Right.
We have control of Congress.
And it's a control, not for the purpose of control, but it's in the control for the purpose of saving the America and
Exactly.
the American people.
Exactly.
Whether they agree or not, the point is they're being saved.
Yes.
It's kind of like the doctor that gives you a vaccination. Well, I don't want that vaccination, but by God, it's good for me.
Oh yes, yeah.
And that's kind of the way I look at it. I just say, well, there's a group of people that are totally unaware. It has nothing to do with education, incidentally. It doesn't have anything to do with whether you're smart or not, or you got how many degrees. In fact, interesting enough, the people that have the most education are the ones that would more likely vote for Hillary. Now,
Yeah, they
does
prove
that make
yeah.
sense to you?
Not at all. to
Not
me.
at all. Okay. Now the uneducated, we call it uneducated. I should say uncollege.
Yeah.
They
Blue
voted
collar,
for Trump.
yes.
Voted for Trump. Now it tells me who has the common sense and who does not have
Mm-hmm.
the common sense. And I just felt like there's going to be enough of those. Now the other disappointment, two ways. I thought there would be more blacks vote for Trump than did, simply because of.
Oh, there's more. He got more votes than Romney got.
But that's
Mm-hmm.
the point. So the point is, they did vote enough, and they didn't take much. And we talked about that before,
Yes,
where the
we did.
blacks would be the influence of this election, and that's how it turned out,
Yeah,
Ray.
you said that.
And I have a black lady friend of mine there in Hanford, and I talked to her about that, and she says, and she was originally Clinton until
Oh, was she?
Yeah, and then we talked, and she's seen
Oh,
that.
I remember you
I
talked
told
to
you
her
about
and she started thinking.
But here's one thing that she said that stuck in my mind. She says, Gary, I'm going to tell you something. As a culture, black people are very, very loyal. And I had never thought of it that way. And she said they're loyal to their church. They're loyal to each other. And when she said that, she says, because she had seen the light, I guess, if you will, and she said that, and they're loyal to the Democrat, and it'll be a while, but they'll change. And
This
it
is
made
probably
me,
the-
it
this
made me
is-
feel better at that
I
point.
think this is probably the biggest change that we've seen since the Civil Rights Act was signed
Absolutely
back
it
in
is.
1965.
Absolutely. And when she said that, I kind of, it just stuck with me, and I said, well, now I see. Now, they're basically what it's going to get down to, Ray, is they're going to see Trump and see what he does, see what happens.
He's already
see,
started
and see
in the
what-
inner cities.
and
already.
see how it affects them.
He's, as far as lining up policies,
Right. And so it was it, because you and I talked about that. It says, I said, Ray, my God, we got to get the black vote, or that's going to be.
Yeah,
the-
you said that quite a while ago.
That's going to be a big reason why Trump would get in, and it didn't take that much. I remember reading somewhere where it said if only 2% more voted for Trump than voted for
Romney?
Romney.
I think Romney got 6%, didn't
Yeah,
he?
right.
And how much did Trump get? I forgot.
I've heard all over the board, but I have heard 8%.
Yeah. No, I think it was a little
But
more
I was
than that.
more than that.
Yeah.
And-
But because he was like, I might be wrong on this, and somebody, if you know about this, call in and let me know. And like we said, we're live. Let us know. And because I'm not sure, but I thought it was close to 12%. I might
think
be wrong.
so. I think so.
I could be wrong on
And
that.
then he also received an increase in the Hispanic vote.
Yes, yeah.
In fact, they come up with these numbers and stuff, but I said in this one area there was 38% more. 30% of the Hispanics voted for Trump.
I gotta tell you something. This whole thing, I'm still reeking.
Oh, yeah.
I am still reeking. I'm so excited. It is such a great time to be a patriot, to be an American.
Absolutely.
We're going to witness something, ladies and gentlemen, right in front of our eyes. We're going to see this country head toward prosperity. We're going to see this country get back on track because of Donald Trump. And it was what, less than 2 years ago. Less than 2 years
Right,
ago, he
right.
decided that he wanted
Well,
to do
yeah,
this.
it was about 17 months ago to be
Yeah,
exact.
Yeah.
But
Just
the-
amazing in that short amount of time.
But the fact that it's only been a week that he's not the president, he's elected.
Yeah,
right?
President-elect, yeah.
And it's only been about a week, right? A little over week and a few, well, say 10, 12 days. Okay, let's think about that. He just now got elected, right? And he's not even in power.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting to me that he's had 34 foreign leaders call him.
Is that not amazing?
That's in one-
34.
that's
I
in a
didn't
week.
know that, Gary.
I got
That
a
is
list of who's
amazing.
called him. I mean, different
Of course
countries.
they want to get on board. They know exactly what's going to
And
happen.
he's getting a lot more calls because obviously that phone couldn't have had to be busy for a lot of them, right? And and this was another thing that's interesting is this South Korean CEO said we are moving and we're going to build cars in the United States.
There you go. This is just the beginning.
Right.
Like he said, he doesn't even take office until January 20th, 2017.
He hasn't.
Already
It's only been a
things are
week. He
starting.
didn't have. You know what I mean? I mean, you think I've been through all this. I'm going to take a week off, go on vacation, sit in my 250-foot yacht out there, and then I'll come back and get to work. I'll be rested and go. No, he's piloted right then.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now, every day.
And then he's got the. Of course, the Mexican government has called him. There's going to be a unique partnership, really. Now,
It is.
it's going to be good for
It's
Mexico,
going to be
and it's
excellent
going
for
to be
them,
good
and it'll
for
be good for us.
Yeah,
It's going
it'll
to
be good for
definitely be
both.
excellent
Exactly.
for them. Gary, we're going to take a little break here, and we'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, in 2 and 2.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget.
Welcome back. I'm back here with my great guest, Gary Miguel, and we're discussing how happy we are. I tell you, it's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to sit back and watch all this. We're all a part of this, like I said several shows ago. This is the most exciting time I've known in my lifetime, right now.
Well, it is, and it hasn't been something as significant as this. I keep saying that, but since the World War, of the Civil World War.
And someone said
Excuse me,
that.
not Civil War, but the Civil War.
Yeah. Someone said that
Oh, is
since
that
back
right?
during Grant's time. Yeah.
Yeah. And Lincoln,
Yeah.
the Civil War. That was a very defining situation for America. That was because at that time America was split,
Yes.
and that was brought it back together. But here's something to think about that's really exciting, more than anything, I think, that's in regard to that, is this is the most significant time since then, right? In terms
Absolutely.
of the direction of the country is what I'm getting at. All right, now think about this, Ray. There hasn't been the necessity of a military firing a shot. What we have is the power of the founding fathers, the way they put this thing together with the Constitution and so forth. Do you realize that we have had some tremendous change that other countries, other places, and ourselves at one time, we'd have to have a war.
Yes.
We'd have to have
yes.
a military conflict. But this is the power of the people,
Sure it is.
all right?
Sure it
now,
is.
we have had, which it's going to become even more and more apparent, we've had a revolution.
Yes, we have.
I mean, what else is it? Because, it's like, well, he's doing that right now. He's saying we're no more lobbyists. He's taken cronyism out of capitalism.
Yes.
Okay, we have become a cronyism capitalist country for the last 40, 50 years. Well, what's happened with that? The middle class keeps getting less and less, and less, and the lower class, more of them, or the poor people, while these people that are in the crony capitalists are getting richer by amazing, and to the point they don't even realize anything about you or me or
Yes.
anyone else. You see?
Headed for a two-class system.
Well, it
is, yeah.
has been. We just didn't know it because we didn't see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how come they didn't tell us about it? Because they're controlled by.
Well, of course. Of course.
There you are. So this is very significant. This is a coup or whatever you want to call it without firing a shot.
I wonder if some people know how tremendous this
Oh,
is
it's
for
amazing,
this country.
right?
How
Now-
great this is for this country. What's really and truly happening in this country.
Well, we become a corrupt capitalist. That's what capitalism. What's wrong with it is that it leads to cronyism. Well, Trump's seen that, and he's at the process as we speak, ending that. In fact, he said no lobbyists are even going to be on his team. If you can't do both, and if you do on my team, you can't become
He
a
said
lobbyist.
that yesterday. I saw that.
You realize how big that is? In
It's
destroying
major. It is major.
right? Okay, the other thing is we have become secular in the sense of secular capitalists, in the sense that God has, or any belief like has been taken out of the schools, been taken out of the public, been taken out of the lives. And this was founded, whether you're Jewish, whether you're a Christian, it was founded based on a principle, based on a religion, we'll call, or let's say it all a religion,
Yeah.
or because of a God or Christian type values. Well, that was being replaced, which that's one of the things that communists do is replace that. So we have atheists take the religion, take the flag, take everything out of the schools.
Competition out of the schools. So
Take
that
trophy for everyone.
that just, I got to say something about that. I mean, here's a kid, goes out, he's a great athlete. He hits 400, hits 10 home runs, knocks in 27 runs. He's the best player in the league, and he gets a trophy like everyone else. That's not how this country
No,
is
of
made.
course
That's
not.
not how this country was meant to be in this country. This country is built on competition.
And Ray, one of the keys to that is that you have a right, we'll call it a right, privilege, or whatever you want to call it, to succeed.
Yes.
But you also have the right to fail. Mm-hmm. And you can't have
Both.
success without.
No.
So when I'm in competition, let's say we're in competition, and you defeat me, and you succeeded, I did not, right? That doesn't mean I'm a failure. It means
No.
I got defeated. So what I do one of two things. I say, well, I just can't compete that, or I then become even better to
Because you
compete.
work harder.
Now I beat
Yeah,
you.
you work harder.
So what you want in there is you don't want what the government has come up with this socialism thing. No one fails. Well, that's ridiculous.
Of course it is.
You can't have that. You have you try this.
How can you have any progress with that?
You try something and you fail at it, but you had the right to succeed or fail, but you failed at it. Okay, but I'll go try something else.
Yeah.
I want to have that right to fail and succeed and fail,
It's the only thing that works.
because that's the only thing that works. Now, if I get a success regardless, well, if that's the case, then why am I going to do anything? Why don't I just stay home?
No, all I got to do is show up, and I'm going to get a success.
If you look at
That's what-
welfare right now and why there's so many people on, there's a place for welfare, but it's not being used today for what we originally thought it was supposed to be. I mean, you got able-bodied people who are on welfare.
57% more under this present
think about it.
inept, do-nothing administration.
So
by
what
the way.
they have is a fail-safe system. So what happens though with the welfare thing is they've lost the right to succeed because they have a no-fail. Now, if they had the right to succeed and fail, then they'd go out and succeed.
Well, sure,
They'd try to succeed, wouldn't they?
absolutely.
But if I have no right to fail, what is success? This is success. You see,
you got to have it.
you got to have it, and this has got to be. I mean, welfare had all this stuff has a good time for it. And I mean, we don't want to see people suffering and all that. You know what I mean, needlessly. But you have to get wise about it. I mean, I've got friends of mine that are on welfare that would like to work, but it doesn't make sense to them to work.
Well, of course not. They
Well,
make more
what-
money being on welfare.
Well,
for one
yeah.
thing.
So what kind of system is that?
Yeah, and you can't blame the recipient.
Of course not.
You know, you can't. You got to
Absolutely
blame
not.
the system.
People
that
will blame.
created
Oh
it.
well, he's. I said fine. I don't
Yeah.
blame him or her.
Yes.
And there's a need for that, but it gets out of whack. And one of the reasons it gets out of whack because that gets back to that vote, pandering to the voter, care less. I'll give you another example. Think about it.
Okay.
Hillary Clinton is about as, I don't know if you want to call it racial or whatever you want to call it, but she is not for the people.
Of course she is.
She's
not.
for herself, but she knows how to pander to the
Well,
people.
of course she does.
And she knows how to
She
buy the
plays
vote.
the people.
She doesn't care about the communities that are being in poverty and all
Except
that.
for every 4 years.
She
okay?
doesn't. She doesn't care about that, except every 4 years. But a lot of people, and I don't blame them. They're sitting there scared to death. Oh my Lord, this Trump guy come along, and then all of a sudden, where am I going to be? He's not going to have people starve to death, but he's going to give them the incentive to where they say all. You talked about it earlier one time on one of these shows. You said they lost hope. This lady you were talking to,
Yeah,
there is no
yeah.
hope. Well, why should there be any hope? I don't blame her. Do you?
No, not at all.
Not at all. So I sit there and I say, well, this guy comes along and he has hope. Now this person is going to say, well, my gosh, I can do this. But I certainly can't do it when somebody's telling me that, by God, vote for me and you're going to be okay. Well, that's all you are. It's still on, we talked about it, it's still on plantation.
When I say that this Donald Trump is the best thing by far to happen right now, okay, in the direction that we were going in this country, he is the best thing, and we're just beginning to see an inkling of it, and he doesn't even take office until January 20th.
Right. And there's been a car company in South Korea,
Interesting part. Listen to this.
and they've announced that they are going to open a manufacturing cars here in the United States.
That's major.
Okay, and there's also been Apple is talking about building or making their iPhones here
And
in
like
the
you
United
said,
States.
they're in China now, so, you know,
That's right.
that's big.
And there's and he's not even in office yet. I mean, this is just
It's just the beginning.
just the beginning. And there's a Ford. There's a company. We're not saying they're going to do all of it, but there's like Ford said. Well, perhaps
These are all
we're-
great possibilities.
They've already said it. They said
Yeah.
we're going to build this particular size car. It's going to be built in the United States. So, and this is what the guy's not even sitting there. He's not even officially a president. I mean,
We're all a part of this,
yeah,
ladies and
yeah.
gentlemen.
We're about like you and I right now, you know, as far as power goes.
Oh, yeah.
But the point is, this people are seeing it. And I'll tell you another interesting thing: immigration. My God, the liberal press was on and on about what there's 11 million people and all this. Ray, they estimate it's close to 2 million undocumented workers or people that are here illegally have left on their own.
Isn't that amazing?
And it's only been a week, and
2
they left
million.
on their own. And so you say, well, why would they leave? Here's why. Because they could go back to Mexico, as an example, on their own. They have no record of arrest record or anything. So now they apply to come to the United States,
Now they come legally.
and they come legally. And they have their records clean. Because if they go gather them, they're going to be noted on there that they were here. They're breaking the law. You ever broke the law? They could sit there and say no. Because it's not on my record. I got picked up, so they come in, and who you think's going to be accepted first? Somebody that has broke the law, or somebody that has not?
hasn't, of course.
So that's smart on their part. They're going to cross back home. Of course, this time of year, a lot of Mexicans go back home because of the holidays and so forth anyway. But my God, what a great idea! So without even having to knock on their door and tell them and kick them out, they're getting out on their own. Why? Because it makes sense.
You know, we have enough people in this country that are committing crimes, that are killing people, without having people that don't belong here doing the same thing.
Well, of course, and so what he's going to go after right away, and that's going to be very swift and effective. He's going after the criminals.
Yes,
That
the
are
criminals
illegally
that,
here.
that are here, that have committed crimes here, the gang members
That's
that have
for,
committed crimes.
he's not going to be.
Great.
That's right. He's not going to be after
No.
those people who are here but are not criminals. He's going to have a program for them. Okay, but what I'm getting at,
He's kicking out the worst of the worst.
yeah, 2
in
to
other
3
words.
million of them, and they know who they are. I've ridden with the cops there in Hanford
Mm-hmm.
at night, and we're driving along, and they know where every one of these guys.
Oh, yes.
Oh, this house here, that's a drug dealer. See the fizz, but their hands are tied. So when he comes out and says we're gathering them and tells every city, they know already where they are. They know who to pick up. They know who it is, and it's going to go like
Good.
wildfire.
That's what it needs to.
Yeah.
We're going to take a little break here, and we'll be back in 2 and 2.
The flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American.
I'm back with Gary Miguel, my great guest, and we're going to let's talk about the popular vote for a minute, because I think people have a misconception. Gary?
Yeah, what you're reading right now is Clinton won the popular vote. And I think last I heard it was 600,000 votes.
Yeah, it was
or
very
something like
close,
that.
actually.
Right. However, Trump won the Electoral College, and
Yes.
we could all spend a show on how he did that,
Mm-hmm.
But there was 12 states that he concentrated on, and that would get him the necessary
Electoral votes.
electoral votes. And so, but let's look at the popular vote, and that shows that Clinton won. However, they estimate there's 3 million votes that were illegal votes that
Would have been thrown out.
That would be thrown out.
Which means that he would have won the popular.
Absolutely, yeah. And had he concentrated on the popular vote, he could have won that, but he may have lost what really gets
I think
you
he knew
elected.
he was. I think he was, because of where the polls showed, and we both know where
Yeah.
they were. I think he took a look at that, and that's, I think, why they did go after the electoral vote.
Absolutely,
You
they've
know.
seen that, and here's the thing: look at the cost. Hillary's campaign spent twice the money as Trump and lost. And here's another thing: that Hillary was running ads all summer and all that. Trump didn't run ads.
No, he
until
didn't.
the last 3 weeks.
That's right.
When did he get in that airplane? 24/7. The last 3 weeks. I mean, he was hitting rally.
The man's tireless,
Well,
isn't
you
he?
couldn't even keep up with it. But the point is, he knew that the last 3 weeks was the key to it. So he got by with spending half the money. Okay, and he understood that the last 3 weeks and the states to do it in is where he could concentrate, which was 12 states. All right, let's think about that. Here's an amateur. These people are all professional
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
politicians, and he's an amateur, and he figures that out, and they couldn't figure
Isn't
it
that
out.
the kind of man you think you'd like to have in the White House?
My Lord, I mean, for one thing, and got the job done, and won with half the money.
And
Jeez.
like Gary said earlier, 18 months ago, it started all back then, about 18 months. He did all of this in 18 months.
Right.
That just blows me away. Well,
Well-
I'm going to tell you something else, too. I thought about this. No one's told me this. But Donald Trump had a lot of help doing this, but he also did a lot of this on his own. I think what he did leading up to the presidency is almost equal to what he's going to do as president. I really do.
Yeah,
it's,
you have to
it's-
be
it's-
there.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, he
It is
knew-
an absolute miracle.
He knew he couldn't do anything unless he got there.
Yeah.
And he's also looking at he's looking at right now at basically running the country the way he did his campaign as far as efficiency.
We talked about that earlier, about how in 1930s they asked Henry Ford, why he was a genius, and he said, "I'm not a genius. I surround myself with
Exactly.
geniuses," and we're seeing that
Right.
daily. The appointments that he's making, the people that he's thinking, Rudy Giuliani, great people that he's putting in place.
And he wants to separate in that draining the swamp. He wants to make sure that there's no connection to the establishment. He wants a clean break.
Absolutely.
And so there's going to be some people that maybe don't receive a position that they think that would have been good. And the reason may be because of connections that person has.
That's got to be the
Yeah,
it's got to be the
and
connection.
not that wouldn't be good. He just doesn't want that doubt to be
Like you
there.
said, he wants a clean break.
Right. And so there's been a number of people that would be good, but they had that problem with being a lobbyist at one time or being controlled by lobbyists and that. So he's making a clean break.
It's exciting just sitting back and watching him put this together, because that on January 20th, 2017, they're going to hit the road running.
Well, Ray, that's true. And it's going to be exciting.
Oh,
but
it's exciting to me already.
Here's what's interesting. Okay, let's take the major media. There's 5 major media, I
Yes.
think it is, right? And think of the billions and billions and billions that's behind something like that, right? The reporters, you're on TV and all the usuals, right? Now think about this: how Trump destroyed their credibility in just a sentence. He says, "Look, unless you hear it from me." Now we're talking about Twitter.
Yeah.
You're only allowed 140 words.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Unless you hear it from me, it's not true."
Done deal.
And you go, and he said, and so what, he got me to doing
Mm-hmm.
that. I said, well, I want to see what's really the real thing. I listen to TV for 4 hours. I go over here.
It's not there. Or it is there.
It's what the truth is,
Yeah.
And so what's happening is more and more people are going to his Twitter account as a regular thing in the morning and clicking on that. And he can't put more than 140 words. And now they're getting it from the horse's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you need the media for?
You don't.
You don't. You follow me?
Absolutely, I do.
So okay, let's say you and I are in a discussion, and you say, well, I this. I said, Ray, let's find out, and we'll settle it. Click on Trump's Twitter, and he says, I did hire Susie Q. Well, there's nothing else for us to talk about. Now, the media would take that. Oh my God, they would massage it, put their slant on it. You're getting the full truth when you go to that. If you haven't heard it from me, that's what he says. If you haven't heard it from me, it's not true.
Just brilliant.
I mean, now here's the media spending billions with all these fancy reporters, egotistical, and you're sitting there wondering, well, I'm going to there to get the news. No, you don't even need to do that. Just go to Trump and you'll find out.
Find out right now.
Yeah.
Just amazing. Exciting times, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a little break, and we'll be back again in just 2 and 2. We're back, and we're just elated. Somebody said last week, they asked me, they said, you seem a little different. I said, Donald Trump won. I mean, that was enough to say.
Well, it should be enough for everybody, and everybody should be excited, however they feel right now, because we did get our country saved.
We did.
Because the opposite.
We were
would have
spiraling,
happened.
ladies
Right.
and gentlemen.
And you mentioned a guy telling you that it would, and well, like Robert mentioned even, I figure a year of Hillary and this thing is really in the tank, and it's because of everything that is behind what this country is as far as who owns it, who doesn't.
I just remembered something that I wanted the audience to know, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Gary. And Hannity was talking about, I think it wasn't necessarily an Ivy League college. You won't believe this. You will not believe this. But an all-girls college, and they were so distraught over what happened with Hillary Clinton that they had to bring in dogs to help them.
Oh, I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Is that amazing that they brought in coloring books when what they really need is a good whack on their backside
Absolutely.
and wake up and start appreciating what we have in this country, and being grateful.
We have what I call them the liberals. They are soft snowflakes people. I mean, my God.
Used to getting their own way, and when they
Oh, my
don't
God.
think they should.
And here's the thing: in a war, like it would have been with the Civil War. There was, sons against brothers and all that, and fathers against sons. But think about it now. See those people that they're all crying and they're all in little dogs and coloring book. Can you imagine walking in there with guns and a military unit? You'd wipe those people out in a heartbeat.
It's not really a good picture of America, is
No.
it? You know?
Absolutely not. I mean, they'd be wiped out in a heartbeat. Remember we mentioned the useful idiots, and the communists need those for takeover, and Hillary does. Look who Hillary has. It's useful idiots. Okay? Now, once she gets in office, you think that she really cares about those?
She doesn't need these
In
people
fact,
anymore.
what she needs to do is get rid of them because they're a burden on what she's trying to do. So who's the first to go and be liquidated? It's the useful idiots. And every communist country, as you say, well, no, everyone has done it.
Every one of
Everyone,
them.
going back to Russia, and go to China, and go to Venezuela, and go to Czechoslovakia, and go to all these countries. They get rid of the
I can't even
idiots.
watch them anymore. You know, for a while I sit there and I was I'm in disbelief of these people, crying and talking about going to foreign countries, which is what they should do if they want to. You know, if you're going to walk around and you're going to protest and you're going to throw bricks at our police like you're doing, and you don't like the way things, maybe Mexico will take you.
Well, they're meat people. And that's not what made America. America was sacrifice and for the country.
Yeah.
How many times we heard that? These people are all for me, including Hillary. My God, how in the world did she do it? She didn't care what it took, how it took it, and we've talked about that before. But she's going to get there, right? Because of me. And she even puts in there, she says, vote for her. Which Trump did.
He
Make
said,
America
make
great.
America great again. It differs in night and day. I mean, these people, stop what you're doing, please. Wake up, be an adult, be an example for your children. What kind of example is this setting for this country?
Oh, it's pathetic. And I watched the TV. Of course, the media runs over there because I don't know what I've read one time. But to be a liberal, you have to be something dysfunctional or mentally ill. Well, because they're always angry. They have no sense of humor.
And when they lose, they cry.
And they cry, and they no such thing as responsibility, accountability.
No,
Everything
none.
is excuse and blame. And I read that, and I think about it, and the more I think about it, there is something wrong. And it reminds me of women of abuse. And these people have such a low self-esteem of themselves, and I don't care how many degrees they got.
No,
Don't come up with. In fact, this proved in this election, the smart people were the ones without the degrees, if you look at the results
Absolutely.
of the voting, right? And so you look at those people and you ask yourself, why are they that way? Well, they're insecure about themselves, and they use what objectification, which is Hillary, and like the woman of abuse, it's her spouse. Now he abused her, but she puts up with it. And why? Because she has no identity. Her identity is now with him. Cops come and haul him off to jail. She's the first one down there to bail him out.
Of course.
Well,
we
that's
see
just
that.
like these people. These people with Hillary, my God, how in the world can you possibly, I don't care how many degrees you got, or you have zero, it doesn't matter. How can you vote for someone that's a liar, proven, a crooked, proven, corrupt, proven, and incompetent, proven?
Thank goodness the American people woke up on
Enough
time.
of them woke up.
Yeah.
You bet. I mean, how in the world do you do that? I mean, and then go home and talk to your children about
Yes.
what's right or wrong.
Yeah. What
I
an
mean, you got to
example.
be mentally ill, as far as I could see it. And
I'll tell you, when Hannity talked about those people getting Play-Doh and coloring books to, get up off your butt and go get a job and become an American.
yeah, well, they got saved, but they'll never appreciate it. Although
No, they
there'll
won't.
be people change. I mean, they grow up. There will be a percentage that will grow up. And here's another thing you were talking about earlier. Why did I feel so confident about Trump? Because I was seeing people that were diehard Democrats going down and changing their registration. And I have to think, well,
I knew a lot of them.
you bet, right? Well, that tells me that's just right here. It's happening all over the United States, right?
People finally woke up and realized, you know
Right.
what? This isn't working. This stuff isn't working, and it hasn't worked forever. It
Well,
isn't
Ray-
work. Does it work?
That's
Never.
right. and you go look at a map, it's red except there's little blues around here and there, around the corner. I mean, that's a landslide if there ever was one. And then you throw out that 3 million votes that are illegal votes.
And he's won the electoral plus the popular.
Yeah.
Right there.
And that, to me, it says a lot about Trump, but let's give the American people credit, right? And that's what surprised him, too. And he says he learned how the American people are, and it's a wonderful, and that was very exciting for him, is how resourceful and how smart and how talented the American people, in the sense of having common sense.
Excuse me. I'm still dumbfounded. I'm still shaking my head. Because of where he came from. This is a miracle.
Yeah.
It really is. In a sense, maybe it's not, but to overcome what he had to overcome, which was his biggest obstacle, was not necessarily Hillary Clinton, but the media. And
Yeah.
he overcame
Oh,
the
absolutely.
media. And he overcame them.
If that media had been in his favor, like they were for Hillary, my God, he'd win everything. I mean, every
It would be a major landslide.
a major landslide. So he had to put up with that. But the thing is that he did it, and it's almost like he had to sit there and say, he said, "Man, I could be out of that yacht. I could be building. I could be all this." But you know what? He had no choice. And it wasn't a calling.
I got to tell you, I felt so good the last few days, and I've had in and out of the hospital with things and getting things ready. But I've been so happy because everybody knows me from wearing my cowboy hat and my Trump shirt. Every place I go, especially the usual places, they were all. I walk in, they'd clap, they'd go, "You won, you won," and I said, "We won, we won."
They thought. We mentioned before that he had a calling and he had no choice. I had this explained to me the other day. He said, "No, that's not a calling. He was chosen."
Absolutely.
And then I went to this website and seen this going for about an hour and a half. It's going back to prophecies starting 500 years before Jesus with Cyrus and Babylon.
Yes.
And Babylon had become just like the United States. I mean, it's a carbon copy of the cronyism and the immigrations and all that.
Yes.
It was ruining that place. Who saved it was Cyrus, and this guy likened Trump to Cyrus, which is 500 years before Christ.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, now you don't have to be religious or anything, but there's got to be. You got to say to yourself, there's got to be some reason why this man, who doesn't need this, and quite frankly didn't want this.
No. He looked for someone else
Oh,
and couldn't
absolutely.
find someone.
Couldn't find anyone. And how he stuck it out. And it's like I'm thinking, well, tomorrow morning we're going to see big headline. Trump says, "Well, you're right, I'm out of here. We'll see you guys later." No.
Wouldn't have surprised him.
But he had no choice. He was chosen by something bigger than ourselves.
Because he loves this country and he was chosen. Absolutely.
Right. And if you go back in the prophecies, that is like it is. Okay, Jesus was prophesied as an example. Now, do you think he wanted to get hanging there on a cross?
No,
Of course not. But he had no choice. You follow me? And we could cite other situations.
Yes, we could.
Where there's certain forks in the road where it's required.
Okay, we're going to take a little break here and we're going to come back and close. It has been a great show. It is an exciting time for me. I am elated. I don't think I was ever sick. This has done wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things for this country, ladies and gentlemen. It is a good thing. We're going to be back in two. Okay, Guy, we're having some tech. Would you call back in if you can hear the show? You couldn't hear me. I could hear you. But I don't think you could hear me. So call back in. We want all of this. We don't have a lot of time, so I hope you call back in right away because we want to get what you have to say on the air. So call back in. He might have thought that we lost him entirely.
It's all right. Close it. Want to close it?
Okay, well, we'll continue. I hate that. I really wanted to hear what he had to say.
Was what he was talking off air.
Yeah, if you do hear us, Guy, call back in. And we'll use whatever time we have left. We want to hear what you have to say. That was good stuff.
Yeah,
it's the kind of things that we need.
Right. Right.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great show. It has been a great run. It has been fun. It has been the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me. And having Gary Miguel the man who predicted this, he's the first one I heard that said, hey, this is what's going to happen. And it happened.
Well, thank you, Ray. I appreciate being on here, but of course I look pretty stupid. They'd gone the other way right now, wouldn't it?
I never doubted you at all. I want you to say right here again that you'll be back, okay?
I have fun with Ray, and I think that it's an honor to be on the show with somebody like yourself.
Thank you so much, and I certainly feel
I
the
know
same
you're a
about
tough
you.
dude. I'll guarantee you that.
This has been great. We're gonna have to close it out. It's come to the end of the show, and like we say every week, you know, in regards to, it seems like every week when I come back on the show, there's been another policeman that has been fatally wounded. And let's go up to our policemen. Let's let them know. Let's start healing this thing that we have between us and the policemen. You know, not me, because I'm on their side 100%, and I'm totally for law enforcement. So go up, talk to them, explain to them how grateful we are for what they do. They have a thankless job with very small amount of pay. So, as we say every weekend, you know, until we meet next Thursday, joyously next Thursday, heaven's blessings.
CentralValleyTalk.com